Ever notice how some people can drain your energy without even raising their voice? It's like they walk into a room and suddenly you feel tense. Maybe it's a friend, a coworker, or even someone in your family. You leave every conversation second-guessing yourself, frustrated, or just plain exhausted. Sound familiar? Here's the real question, though. What if you didn't have to cut them off to protect your peace? What if there were ways to handle toxic people smartly? Ways that don't require drama, confrontation, or ghosting, but still give you the upper hand? Because there are. And that's what we're diving into today. These aren't the usual just set boundaries tips. These are clever, strategic, and even a little psychological. So grab a seat, because by the end of this, you're going to know exactly how to deal with toxic people and still keep your cool. Let's jump in. Number 1. What makes someone truly toxic? Let's get something straight. Not everyone who annoys you is toxic, but some people absolutely are. So how do you tell the difference? Ask yourself this after spending time with them. Do you feel better or worse? Not sometimes. Consistently. Toxic people tend to make you feel guilty for things that aren't your fault. Blame others for their mistakes. Turn every conversation into a power play. Make you feel small, confused, or off balance. And they don't always do it loudly. Some are subtle. Some smile while cutting you down. Some do it under the disguise of just being honest. So here's the trick. Trust your gut. If you're constantly questioning yourself around someone, they're not healthy for you. And recognizing that, that's the first power move, because once you spot the pattern, you can stop playing their game. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to protect yourself emotionally without starting a war. Number 2, the gray rock technique, how to be emotionally invisible. All right, so now you've spotted someone toxic in your life. And maybe your first instinct is to argue, prove your point, or defend yourself. But here's the truth. Toxic people feed off reactions. Anger, frustration, tears, that's fuel for them. They want you emotionally triggered because that's how they stay in control. So what do instead? You go gray rock. What's that mean? Imagine you're a rock. Boring, unemotional, unshakable. Gray rock is a psychological technique where you make yourself so emotionally dull, so non-reactive, that the toxic person literally loses interest in messing with you. They come at you with drama. You answer calmly. They push your buttons. You don't flinch. They try to bait you. You give nothing back. See what's happening? You're not giving them what they want, a reaction. You become boring. And eventually, they back off because there's nothing to feed on. Now, look, this doesn't mean you become a doormat. It means you choose not to play their game. This technique is especially powerful if you can't avoid them. Like a toxic coworker, boss, or family member, you're still polite, still professional, but emotionally, you're a blank wall. Let me ask you this. Who in your life always gets a raise out of you and might completely lose interest if you just stopped reacting? That's who you gray rock with. And the beauty, they often don't even realize you've switched gears. They just slowly lose power over you. Number 3, invisible boundaries. How to say no without saying a word. Let's be honest, when you hear the word boundaries, you probably think of dramatic sit-downs, emotional speeches, or awkward confrontations. And if you've ever tried setting a boundary with a toxic person, you already know how that goes. They either get defensive, make you feel guilty, twist it around, and play the victim. So here's a smarter way. Set boundaries without even announcing them. Yup, silent boundaries. Subtle shifts in behavior that say, you don't get to control this anymore. No arguments, no explanations, just action. Let me give you a few examples. 1. Limit your access. Quietly, you don't have to tell them, hey, I'm distancing myself. Just start doing it. Take longer to respond to their texts. Don't pick up every time they call. Be busy more often. They'll notice, trust me, but you don't owe them a press release. Less access equals less influence. 2. Control the environment in. If they always stir drama in one-on-one situations, meet in groups instead. If they stress you out at work, keep convos task-focused. No small talk, no emotional openness. It's like guiding the conversation into a space where they can't misbehave as easily. 3. Gray rock plus boundaries equals power combo. Let's say they ask you to do something you don't want to do again. Instead of arguing, just calmly say, "I won't be able to do that. That doesn't work for me. I'm not available for that." No reason, no over-explaining, just clear, steady energy. You don't even have to raise your voice. In fact, the calmer you are, the more powerful it feels. Here's the kicker. The less permission you give people to cross your lines, the more they start to respect them, or disappear altogether. Both are a win. And ask yourself this: where in your life are you giving someone way more access than they deserve? Because the moment you start pulling back, you'll feel something incredible. Peace. In the next chapter, we're stepping into something even more fun. A little mind trick I call the mirror effect. It's how you flip the dynamic completely and without them even realizing it. Number 4. The mirror effect. How to flip the power dynamic without a fight. Here's something wild about toxic people. They hate seeing their own behavior reflected back at them. Why? Because deep down, they know what they're doing. They just don't want to be called out, and they definitely don't want to be exposed. And that's exactly what the mirror effect does. You're not arguing, you're not confronting, you're simply giving them a taste of their own medicine, gently, calmly, and cleverly. Let me show you how it works. 1. Match their energy, just enough. If someone's constantly cutting you off in conversations, try doing it back, once or twice, not out of spite, but to subtly signal, "I noticed how you treat people, and I can mirror that if I have to." You don't need to be rude, just firm. A quick interrupt, a short answer, a boundary in your tone. Often they'll pause, because for the first time, they're getting a taste of themselves. 2. Reflect their own words. Let's say they say something manipulative like, "Wow, I guess you don't care about anyone but yourself." Instead of defending, say, "It sounds like you're feeling that way yourself." Or, "Interesting. That's how I've been feeling in this relationship too." You're not attacking, you're mirroring. You stay calm, but the effect is powerful. It subtly shifts the power from them back to you. 3. Mirror their tone, but stay cool. If they're cold and dismissive, match it, but in a composed, respectful way. If they're overly sarcastic, use light sarcasm back, just enough to register. Why this works? You're showing them what they look like, without saying a word. And here's the beauty of the mirror effect. Toxic people rely on you playing the role, the one who's agreeable, calm, polite, passive. When you flip the script, even slightly, it confuses them, it makes them think, it throws off their rhythm, and it puts you back in control. So let me ask you, what would happen if you stopped reacting and started reflecting? Who's the person in your life who needs to be shown their own reflection just once to knock the wind out of their manipulation? Because sometimes people don't change until they see themselves in you. Number 5, detachment is power. How to stop letting their chaos feel personal. Let's get real for a second. Toxic people have a superpower. They know how to make their chaos feel like your responsibility. They mess up, but somehow you feel guilty. They start drama, and suddenly you're the one walking on eggshells. They act like a victim, and now you're doing damage control. Sound familiar? But here's the truth that no one tells you. Their behavior has nothing to do with you. Let me say that again. Their chaos is not your burden, and the moment you truly detach from it, You win. When they lash out, you say in your head, "This is their pain, not mine." When they guilt trip you and remind yourself, "I am not responsible for how they feel. I'm only responsible for how I respond." You're not being cold, you're being clear. You don't have to move to another city to get peace, although, hey, sometimes that helps. Detachment is about not letting them live rent-free in your mind. It's knowing you don't have to fix them. You don't have to explain yourself 10 times. You don't need to win the argument. You don't even have to respond to every message. You choose what energy gets in. You choose what stories you believe. You choose where your peace lives. When they come at you with some nonsense, instead of reacting, just pause and think, "This isn't mine. This is theirs. I'm not holding this." It sounds simple, but it's so powerful, because when you stop trying to win with a toxic person, you realize how much of your power they used to steal. So let me ask you, and be honest, how much of your emotional energy goes to someone who doesn't deserve it? What would your life feel like if you just stopped letting it be personal? Because the more detached you get, the more control you gain over your emotions, your peace, your future. Number 6, reclaiming yourself. How to rediscover your power after being manipulated. Here's the thing, spending too much time around toxic people doesn't just exhaust you, it rewires you. You start second-guessing your decisions. You apologize for things that aren't your fault. You shrink, you censor, you lose pieces of yourself just to keep the peace. And one day, you wake up and ask yourself, when did I stop feeling like me? If that hits hard, just know this. It's not your fault, but it is your job to come back to yourself. So how do you do that? Step 1. Identify the version of you that was silenced. Think back before you were walking on eggshells, before you were questioning your worth every 5 minutes, before you molded yourself to fit their mood swings. Who were you? Were you confident? Were you creative? Were you social? Brave? Did you laugh more? Say no more easily? That version of you isn't gone. They're just buried. And reclaiming yourself starts with remembering them. Step 2. Undo the lies they planted. Toxic people are great at planting seeds. You're too sensitive. No one else would put up with you. You're the problem. You always overreact. You can't survive without me. Those aren't facts. Those are lies. They used to control you. Write them down, then rip them up. Literally, replace each one with a truth. I'm allowed to feel things deeply. I deserve people who treat me with respect. My emotions are valid. I am not responsible for fixing other people. Every lie they told you is a thread, and you're finally cutting it. Step 3. Rebuild your voice, one word at a time. Start small. Speak up in situations where you usually stay silent. Ask for what you need. Say no, even when it feels scary. Correct someone when they disrespect you, even with just a look or a pause. Every time you use your voice, you get a little piece of your power back. And over time, you become unrecognizable to the version of you who used to play small to make others comfortable. Here's something to sit with. What would your life look like if you fully believed that you were enough, without shrinking, explaining, or fixing anything for anyone? That version of you is waiting. And in the final chapter, we're going to talk about the boldest move of all, letting go of toxic people, fully. No guilt, no fear, just freedom. Number 7, cutting the cord, how to let go and never look back. Here's the part no one wants to talk about. Sometimes the only way to heal is to walk away, not with anger, not with drama, but with peace and finality. And yes, it's hard, because toxic people often don't come across as toxic 24/7. They can be charming, funny, familiar. They can make you feel guilty for even thinking about leaving. They'll say things like, "You're overreacting. I've been there for you. You're just being selfish. Everyone has flaws. You're not perfect either." And suddenly, you're stuck in this loop. Is it really that bad? Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I should give them one more chance. Let me be real with you. If someone consistently disrespects you, drains you, manipulates you, or gaslights you, that's not a relationship. That's emotional bondage, and it doesn't matter how long they've been in your life. Here's the truth. Length of relationship doesn't equal quality of relationship. You don't owe someone your peace just because you've known them since childhood. You don't have to keep showing up just because they're family. Let that sink in. It doesn't always mean a big, dramatic goodbye. Sometimes it's quiet, peaceful, internal. It might mean blocking their number, removing them from social media, not responding to that guilt-filled text, letting the silence stay silent. No closure, no apology, just moving forward. Because here's the secret, you don't need closure to heal, you need clarity. And if you're waiting for them to suddenly become self-aware and say, "Hey, I was toxic and I'm sorry," you'll be waiting forever. So stop waiting, start choosing you. One final question, what kind of life are you missing out on by keeping this toxic person around? More peace? More joy? More you? Letting go isn't just about them. It's about giving yourself a chance to breathe again, to live in a space that's no longer controlled by manipulation, guilt, or fear. Because here's the beautiful truth. The most powerful move you can make isn't fighting back. It's walking away and never looking over your shoulder. And once you do, you don't just get peace, you get your whole self back. If you made it this far, it means something inside you is ready to stop playing defense, ready to stop shrinking, pleasing, second-guessing, ready to be free. So whether you're going to gray rock, set invisible boundaries, reflect their behavior, detach, rebuild yourself, or walk away for good, just know this. You're not crazy. You're not too sensitive. You're not the problem. You're just finally done. And that's powerful.